Hi and welcome to the What is Your Force of Nature interview series. I'm Kate Nankerville of Force of Nature, and it's my pleasure to be welcoming to the series today Angela Murray, who is the creative mindset coach of Living Life in Colour. Now this is going to be a fantastic and very interesting interview today, which will also, I'm sure, involve some fun and play, because that's what we always get when I spend time with Angela, which is awesome. And as I said, Angela is the creative mindset coach, and you might wonder what that is, and we'll talk into that. Angela is all about unlocking potential through creativity for individuals, teams, and businesses. And let me share a little bit of a background about Angela. As a veteran of the international corporate world and also as an artist, Angela brings her specialty as the creative mindset coach to business owners, individuals and teams and organisations who are looking to unlock their potential and improve performance. Her business, Living Life in Colour, was created out of her passion for the power of the creative mindset to transform your energy or our energy and habitual thinking into creative energy and fresh ideas that will enable us and our businesses to thrive. So that's pretty exciting. I like that introduction, but there's so much more, because that's a nice summary, but Angela is all these amazing things. And I'd like to, first of all, tell you a little bit about how Angela and I met. So I've both got the Force of Nature business, and I've also got this other project, which is The Shape of Kate. So in my business, Force of Nature, Angela was referred to me as a client after we'd kind of met through people in various networks. So I was working with Angela on her LinkedIn profile, which was brilliant. So I had this opportunity to sit down with her. So I'm probing all these questions as I do, getting to know Angela and her business. I'm going, you do what? She's like, oh, well, I do these experiential workshops with people where they come in and they've never done any painting before, but they paint these big canvases. And I'm like, they what? They paint these big canvases and they have these amazing kind of transformational experiences with creativity, which helps them explore their creativity and to realize different things about themselves. And it's all about the process, not so much about the painting. And I'm sitting there going, wow, this sounds big, because I've actually, I had a lot of limiting beliefs about my own ability to paint. So I was thinking, wow, I'm a bit scared of that idea, but this sounds interesting. So I kept going and doing my work, and I was working with Angela on her profile, and that was fun. And then at the end of that, I said to Angela, because I was finding out more about what she does, and like there's the work she does with corporate, so she's exploring creativity and teamwork and sessions and workshops and those sorts of things, but there's also this experiential painting side. So Angela, from my experience, and this is my words here, and I'll invite Angela, I'll invite you to talk to this in a minute. Angela also works through the medium of paint to enable people to explore their creativity. So I said, Angela, now I've done your profile, what should I do with your courses? And so Angela invited me to do the Dream Big, Paint Big course or experience. So we'll get into that in a moment, but it was a profound experience for me. And we'll talk about this as we go through the interview today, but it's been massive for me. So that's where we came into it. I've done Angela's Dream Big, Paint Big experiential program, and that is 4 sessions over 4 Sunday afternoons, which is a fascinating amount of time for so much to happen really in such a short period. But Angela, before we get into more of that, welcome to What is Your Force of Nature. Today is all about talking about what you love to do and what you love to bring to your world of work and business. And it's also a really exciting time because Angela's actually just at the moment making a massive transition. She's been running her business for how many years?
Since 2009, however long that is, 6 or 7 years.
Yeah, so that's amazing, way longer than me. But she's also just stepped out of the world of corporate into full time, and which is super exciting. So, Angela, welcome. And I'd just like to invite you to let us know from your own words what it is that you do in Living Life in Colour.
People think that I'm an art teacher, and actually what I do is I'm actually a coach that uses art as the medium for people to discover more about themselves.
Yeah.
What I believe is that whatever you're doing whatever shows up on the canvas is actually what's happening in your own life.
Mm-hmm.
And so part of my job is to show you how to paint and go through the process, but all of that time I'm watching for clues and signals as to what's actually going on in your life. And they're the things that are seeded all the way through the coaching that sometimes you don't even know are happening. And for me, that's really exciting.
Yeah.
But the other thing as well is that we've been trained to use our logical brains all the way through education and through business. And we don't use our creative brains so much. And the creative brain is the side that will tell you all the things that you can do. And the logical brain will tell you all the reasons why you can't do it. So part of my job is to get you exercising that creative muscle, because in that, that's when you start to see the possibilities. And then when you start to see the possibilities, that's when you start to fly.
That's exciting. Thank you. So I love that. So I like the idea of thinking about your, sorry, let me get this right. It's the right brain, isn't it?
Yeah.
I always get this.
We call it the creative brain. It doesn't matter.
I know we've only got 2 hemispheres, but to be honest, with the creative brain, actually thinking about what we can do or thinking about possibilities, it's kind of crazy, isn't it, that we kind of haven't worked this stuff out already. But
yeah,
we spend so much time in our logical brain. It totally makes sense to me when I hear you say it, you know, like we're in safety. It tells us what not to do. Kind of like this organizer and controller versus thinking freely. Oh, actually, I could do that, or I might be able to do that. Why don't I try that? That'd be fun. So we spend so much time in the logical brain that to kind of start exploring the creative brain is quite. It's a profound thing for many.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I actually find. Sorry, I was going to actually find that a lot of people come to me because round about the sort of your early teens, sort of 12 to 15, you quite a lot of people start to criticize their own creativity because you're being judged on does it look like an elephant, or is it proportionally correct, and all of that sort of stuff. And then at that age that you start to tell yourself, well, I'm not doing it right, or it's not perfect, and you stop doing it. So and then over the years you tell yourself you're not creative, and you look for lots of evidence as to why you're not creative, and actually none of that's true. None of it's true. You are creative in lots of different ways. It's not always about drawing and painting. But we build up this story. And I think for me, one of my absolute passions about doing this work is if you come to me and you're adamant that you're not creative and you can't paint and you can't draw, and if I can show you that that's rubbish, basically, it's a message that you're telling yourself, you're limiting yourself. If I can show you that in 2 sessions, what else are you stopping yourself from doing? Because you're telling yourself you can't do it.
Yeah. Which is huge, isn't it? Because I know I've heard myself say that. I've heard other people say that I don't do such and such because that's not me, or I'm not skilled in that area, or I wouldn't do that because that, you know, I'm not creative, or whatever it is. It cuts off a lot of things. And I know, for instance, one of the things that happened to me, which made me laugh, gosh. So I went into Angela's course, experiential course, and I'm like going, okay, I kind of thought the whole trend around adult colouring was really twee, man. Who are these people colouring in? What is that about? I'm killing myself going, oh yeah, right, like I'm going to get done with that. Wow, since I've done the experiential course, I'm like, I've got my colouring book, and I've got colouring and I've got belts, and I really like it. And it was just complete judgment from inside my head going, that's twee, when in fact it actually is really lovely. And I know, I think, Angela, you've talked about it being like, it's like meditation or a relaxation, and another way of kind of enabling or getting into your creative brain particularly when you're getting stuck in your logical brain. It's a good way to free up your thinking. And I know you got us to do lots of different exercises, but I really enjoy it. And my friends are taking me, like, my girlfriend bought me a set of colouring and pencils. I went round to kids for a girlfriend, and I took my colouring stuff and said to these kids, "Oh, I'm coming around to do the kids sitting tonight, and we're going to do colouring in."
They'd love it.
They did. I think they thought it was quite funny that I was into it as well. So, you know, but that was just even one little limiting kind of thought that I had before, and it was, to me, it was like it opened up a whole endless plateau of possibilities. But working with you, so go.
And what I was thinking when you were talking is that if you think about your logical brain as being, you know, the old-fashioned telephone exchanges where we'd plug in, and your logical brain is constantly doing this because it's your inner administrator. So it's majorly overworked, and your creative brain is sitting on the other side filing her nails with nothing to do.
Yeah.
And so
maybe she's having a nap.
Exactly. Yeah. And the whole idea is like your creativity is like a muscle, and so once you start to exercise it, you actually use it not just for drawing and painting, but you start to think more creatively.
Yeah.
And the idea is that it's not all about shifting into this creative brain. It's actually about bringing them both up to a level playing field.
Yes.
So that your creative brain comes up with all the ideas, but you need your logical brain to execute them.
Yeah.
And what you're doing is actually giving your logical brain a little bit of a break.
Yeah, no, totally. And one of the other things that happened for me after doing the Dream Big, Paint Big experience was that I became aware that I was feeling more creative in everything I was doing. I was having more creative ideas in meetings with clients and taking those out and playing with them, you know, and seeing, and it was fun, and it was useful for the work I was doing. I was becoming more creative with the music I was listening to, and actually trying and listening to different things. And I've got a bit habitual, to be honest. And I was being more creative in the kitchen, and I tried new recipes, and I just felt much more interested in being exploratory. You know, I just was this possibility space was definitely one of the things that came out of it for me. Before we go further, because there's so much that you do, what I would like to lean in a little bit too is to ask you, Angela, how did you come to be the creative mindset coach? How did this come about for you?
Back in 2009, I actually did a life coach course for 12 months, and it was very much a holistic course where not so much of a tick box kind of thing, but more you were looking. It was a holistic course where you were looking at every single aspect of your life, and so I did that coaching, the sort of sitting, talking coaching for a number of years. But I found quite often that people were up here in their heads and not down in their feelings, which is really where you need to go to make change. And then I realized that the place that I go for my answers, or to meditate and all the rest of it, was creativity. Because in creativity, say if I'm painting, I actually have a journal next to my canvas, because that's when all the ideas come up, that's when all the answers come up. And so I realized that there was some connection between that and actually getting the true answer, not the answers that I thought I should give, or the sanitized, acceptable answers to a situation. And so I actually found somebody who could help me to combine the two together. So I trained with a lady in the States, and I took what I already knew about coaching, and I involved some of the techniques that I learned from her. And my business took off from there, because first of all, it's fun. Like, change does not have to be hard.
Yeah.
but we think it's going to be. And when you add the creativity in, it's actually really fun. And for me, that was a massive thing. And so I think that's partially what attracts people. And it's gentle. Yes, there are emotional times and things come up.
I had some of those.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say. I'll leave that to you. It's a really gentle process, and yeah, I think that's really how the business has evolved. But also because I was holding down a corporate job, 4 days a week, I actually had to take that creative mindset in there in order to navigate the job, and I was watching people who didn't have that and how much they struggled. And yes, that's what pushed me to go, we really can use this mindset, this way of being and thinking in the corporate world as well as in your own private life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that I would draw on from my own experience too, of pre, during and post your experiential course, is that I had been up until that time kind of thrashing myself and my business, working long hours, focus, definitely lots of left brain kind of logical stuff, and going, I've got goals, I'll go for my goals, all that stuff. and then you get kind of exhausted. And one of the things I found in coming into your experiential course was we got to play. Well, I'm like, how do you do that again? I kind of forgotten about that. And then actually creating fresh energy through play, which is achieved through a whole different, I guess, set of experiences, the process that you create, for instance, in that particular experiential course, as compared with, I'm in my business, I need to be productive, and gosh, I'd like to get up and have great energy every day. Gosh, I should make that happen. Goal. Instead of going, right, okay, I'm just going to logically create great energy, so whoever did that, it's like you, through creative play and through the process you create. So Angela creates a very deliberate experience for you in this course, in this experience. So I came out with so much energy. It was like something had exploded within me as a result of the process that was created and the work I did through the process. And that was massive. So for people who are, I think, overworked, overstressed, kind of can identify with working long hours and not feeling any of that fresh energy within themselves, within their core, within their being, if they want to kind of flip that on itself and find a different way to great energy, this is a great thing to experience. Whether you choose a group experience like I did, or whether you do some one-to-one work with Angela, which is totally possible, then I'd encourage you to do that, take that kind of step, because I think it's so powerful for your energy. And I surprised myself completely through the experience, but my energy was palpable. In fact, someone said to me after the first day, I rang them and left a message on their cell phone, and they were like, I'm going to say it, holy crap, Kate, you were just flying. Your energy was amazing. So the force of nature was truly released from day one on Dream Big, Paint Big experience. And I think that is just, that's beyond anything when you get your energy like that. That is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's like you've said, spills over into so many different areas of your life.
Yeah, and I think one of the things with Dream Big, Paint Big as well, because you're not painting with a final subject in mind, it's just about the process and the play. You, as part of that, you have to let go of the perfectionist. You have to let go of the needing to know what the outcome's going to be, so the control freak as well.
Yeah.
And that is actually a massive relief when you finally let that go during the process.
Yeah, totally.
And I think they're possibly part of what drags your energy down.
Yeah.
And when you let them go and go, well, there's no place for you here because we don't know what we're going to be painting. It's just going to be an experience. When they're allowed to take the, head off into the wings, if you like, then you can fly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I came in with all that. I had the perfectionist and the control freak. They were on my shoulder here. And I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to be painting a big painting. Well, it's obviously got to be a masterpiece first day out. That's fair. So, which is so nuts, right? And I was really, really like, okay, that's fine. And what I also thought was that every painter began a painting with, right, I'm here and I'm going to get here, and there's a linear process. I totally got that it's an evolving process, and that you may absolutely not have control over that as you play with things. So there's so much that comes through, and letting go and just seeing what comes up, which is pretty scary initially.
It is, yeah. And I think one of the other great learnings I remember from yours was you were doing it, and we were at the stage of, I really don't like it. I think I might hate it. And then we made I gave you something to do, which was one change, and then all of a sudden you loved it. And that's a real metaphor for life, is that only one thing needs to change, and then suddenly your outlook's completely different.
Yeah, that is brilliant. And before we got to that moment, I'd like to share this with you because I think it's really important. I came into Dream Big, Paint Big with the whole, when I was 12, last time I was in an art class, I was in the art class and I'm like going, I'm rubbish at art. There are other kids in this class who are great at art. I'm not. I'm good with words. That's cool. So I left Form 2 going, yeah, art's not my thing. So I come into the course going, that's been running through my brain for a long time, because we know I'm on the high side of 40s here. And and in the first couple of hours of this experience, all my all that limiting belief started kind of interacting with, Angela was getting us to try different things. Like you were bringing all these different like paintbrushes and sponges and feathers, and I'm like, try the whole chicken, Kate, like do this. And I'm like, if she brings another thing over to get me to try in my head, because I've gone in going, oh, I'm going to do something out of my comfort zone. And I'm going to be the observer. And right, so put Kate in that space. And then all this emotion comes up based on me going, I'm crap at art. This is really hard. And Angela's getting me to do, look at mine, it looks stink. Oh, look at the others, they've got really nice pictures. And I'm laughing now, which wasn't what I was doing, because I felt reactive, I felt defensive, I felt angry, I felt all this negative energy welling up inside me. Yeah. And again, I'm laughing now, which is hard to convey exactly how just powerful that negative was going on inside of me, until Angela's wise coaching gave me that one other thing to do. My painting transformed, and I felt like a well of this negative energy just dissolved and disappeared out of me, and I was filled up with possibility. Suddenly, I liked my painting. Suddenly, I could see, those colours are quite neat. I quite like that. And Angela was encouraging us to take photos. We were taking photos with me. And I was excited then. And then I wanted to try something more and play some more. So by the end of that first session, like I say, I came out on a high of just having let go of that limiting belief. Now, that had been running in my head since I was 12, that I was not good with visual medium. It's a long time. It's nearly 40 years. And that's brilliant to let that go, because now I can play with that. Whereas before, I played within the lines of my beliefs. Now, like, the beliefs gone. What else might I do? What else could I try? So that's an interesting time. So, Angela, can I ask, because that was my experience, and my experience of it resulted in the painting, which is behind me. If anyone can see that, they may or may not with this lighting today, which I love. What happens to other people when they experience this? Tell us a bit about that too, because you've run this program for a number of people now in different sessions. What are some of the commonalities that come out?
There are quite often really big shifts, and It is to do with limiting beliefs. People come with different limiting beliefs. So I have one client who had a not deserving limiting belief that this was the way life was just going to be because they didn't deserve anything better.
Yeah.
And through the course, because what happened, I believe, is that they were empowered through the painting and the process, because we also look at what's actually going on for you as the person.
Yeah.
They actually went out and made 2 major changes in their lives. They actually got rid of some people who were actually dragging them down.
Mm-hmm.
And their life has completely changed, and just the lightness and the possibility for that person. And then the other one that I always think about, and she actually did write a blog about this, but I won't name her, but she'll know who she is. Somebody who came along, and she was placing rules on herself in a class where I say there are no rules. And it wasn't until about the 3rd or 4th week in that we discovered that she had placed rules on herself. I think it was on the 2nd week. And then what happened from that was she then looked at, well, where else am I doing this? Where am I putting myself in a box or telling myself I can't do this because there's all of these unwritten rules? And her business has really taken off, because now she can do whatever she wants to, whatever she loves, whereas before it was like, I can't do that because that's not what my kind of business does. Or it's really difficult to explain. It's like as if you've taken the shackles off. Everybody comes with different shackles, if you like. And when you learn through the process that actually it's not true, you don't have to live that way. It's like I've said before, it's like watching them fly. And they all go in different directions, but it's all because of they're bringing their limiting beliefs to the class. And the idea, as you said, is to dissolve that.
Absolutely. And flying's like that, isn't it? By nature, we would be flying off in different directions, so that's perfect. So there's these profound things that can happen for people in experiencing this type of experiential course, and you deliver this both in person and online. So this experience is available to people who are based in Auckland, as well as people who are based throughout New Zealand and internationally, which is great, because you can actually get your equipment, your gear, and you can do this online, which that's fun. Can you tell us a little bit more about the other sorts of things that you do, your other services, and particularly perhaps from that type of experiential course into how you work with groups and teams, say in organisations, and how you bring this creative mindset into that space? What sort of things you do there?
I've done work with organisations, and I tend to tailor it to what they need. So, as an example, I worked with one organisation that, first of all, had a lot of people doing the same roles, but not working together as a team. They were all individuals, and so the first thing was to, help them become a more cohesive team, and then also to understand each other better. And actually, creativity is a great way of getting people to realise the differences and be accepting of that. And then also what I do is getting them to think more creatively, because people think that creativity is drawing and painting, but actually creativity is taking something that already exists, changing it and adding to it to make something completely new. So if you think about the iPhone as an example, somebody thought, oh, why don't we take a music player and a telephone and a computer, and we'll just have it as one device. Somebody had that creative thinking to be able to do that, and that's partially what I teach within organisations.
Sure, great. So for example, we all, I've certainly been in meetings where people say, right, now we're going to do a brainstorm. Yay! It's the death knell on ideas, isn't it? So for instance, for teams who are regularly needing to come up with fresh ideas, then having doing some work with you, doing a session with
Yeah.
you would be a great way to enhance and explore their creativity to support their idea generation, wouldn't it?
Yeah, what I generally leave them with are some techniques that they can actually use if you're going to brainstorm, as an example. And as you said, that's one of the things that people absolutely hate, is going into a room and they go, okay, we're going to do blue sky thinking, or we're going to brainstorm, and you've given them no warm up. So the idea is I leave them with techniques so they can warm their staff up, so they're thinking more creatively. Then you ask the question and you'll get much better answers. Whereas it's like asking someone to run a marathon and not actually warm them up beforehand.
Yeah, absolutely. And so without telling us all the things that you do, is there one type of thing that you would give to people as a warm-up exercise that they could, as a tip, that they could make use of?
Well, you could take your colouring book, just saying.
Yeah.
But even something as simple as setting a timer for 5 minutes and having an A4 piece of paper and a single colour pen, like, orange, red, whatever, it doesn't matter, and just doodling for 5 to 10 minutes with no subject in mind, just playing. And what happens is that your logical left brain goes, there's nothing for me here, this isn't making any sense. And it allows then the right brain, the creative brain, to start firing.
Yeah.
And then if you then take that in, don't skimp on the 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then start the meeting and start the brainstorming, you're already in that space.
Yeah.
And it's the simplest of things.
Great. That's a good tip. So get your paper and your coloured pens and your doodling going so that you can do that before you're getting into something like an idea generation or a brainstorming session. Andrew, is there anything else you'd like to share about how you can help organisations in the work that you do so people can understand more about your services?
I guess that there's several things that I do for organisations. It could be that you've got those people that actually do need to come up with ideas, or people that may be a bit stressed in business. Creativity is a great way of actually, as we've discussed, around changing your perception, but also managing your stress levels and that sort of thing. So I can do one-on-one work with people in business. Yeah. It could be that you just need someone to come in and do a session with the team before you're doing, like an annual conference to bring up new ideas. You just want somebody to just get them sort of racked up, if you like, and started, and then you carry on and you do all of everything that you would be wanting to do with regards to strategy and all of that sort of thing, and you'll get much more out of them. Yeah. Or just a way of actually bringing that sort of, I guess, work-life balance back into business and giving them tools and techniques around being a bit more mindful, and it's great because that reduces absenteeism. So yeah, absolutely. So there's something there for teams and also for managers and leaders, and if you're wanting to do some personal one-to-one work with Angela, it's definitely possible. So that looks like coaching, where you can start exploring how creativity can be helping you expand what you're doing and how you're being, whatever your role, whether you're a senior manager or whether you have your own business. So that's exciting. Can I ask, have you got anything, is there a latest thing that you'd like to share with people today about what's happening in your business? Now that I've actually moved out of corporate, I've actually got more space to look at new opportunities. So historically, I've not been able to do a lot of one-on-one sessions during the day. So I'm looking to work more with people who need one-on-one work, who may not want to come and do an experiential session with, 3 or 4 other people. So I'm really excited about that because there's more of that coming up. Yeah. I guess that's probably the main thing at the moment. And then later this year, I actually have a course in November, which is called Painting Your Dreams, for people who just want to dip their toe in and have a go at painting, and that's a bigger group. And again, that's for beginners, just to try.
Fantastic. Trying's fun. Trying's good.
Yeah.
What I'd also like to do, because this is the what is your force of nature, and I think you, Angela, you do a range of different things. You know, what you're doing with individuals, teams, and organisations is great, but you know, you found your own force of nature through a variety of things, through the training that you've done and coaching, but also how did you find your painting aspect of your force of nature? Because your creative force and the work that you create is a big part of that. So how did that come about?
I actually did know creativity for about 20 years.
I like the way you
well,
say that. It's like you were I was in creativity prison. I didn't.
I was okay. So I was married for 20 years, and during that time, I did know creativity. You can read into that as whatever you like. And the first thing I did when we separated was I signed up for an art class. And the art class, it was a traditional art class. So you were learning different mediums, but I couldn't wait to go. There was something in that I suddenly found this freedom. To play and be myself. Unfortunately, because it was graded, the art teacher at the end told my report said acrylic paints are not Angela's friend. So I know. So I luckily I ignored him and I carried on. And actually, that informs my coaching and my teaching, because I don't want to be that coach or that teacher.
No.
That's why when I coach, it's all about there are no mistakes, there are no rights and wrongs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and he was the perfect person for me to meet.
Yeah. So he sure taught you something. It's almost criminal, isn't it, when people do that? That's crazy. So that got you going again, and then you just kind of spread your wings more and more, from what I gather.
Yeah. I came over to New Zealand in 2008 and on a 5-week holiday and didn't go home. And one of the things I did, I moved to Geraldine, which is a very small town. And the first thing I did was go out and buy canvases and paint, because I had a lot of free time.
Yeah.
And it just sort of grew from there. But I was doing very precise painting.
Yeah.
And then I discovered intuitive painting, which was bigger canvases and not painting with the subject in mind. And when I discovered that was like my feeling of having the shackles removed, because then anything was possible from there. And that's really where this whole thing launched from.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I love that. It's so cool. Can I ask, what advice do you have for other people who are looking for their own force of nature?
Be curious, and it doesn't have to be logical. We're very good at beating ourselves up for not knowing what our passion is, or trying too many different things and feeling like we don't stick at anything. So the best way, I believe, to find your force of nature is to actually be curious, try lots of different things. Eventually something, or a combination of something, is actually going to stick with you. And when you find that thing that you feel you're driven to do, like for me it was painting and teaching, you'll know it because you're energized by it. So just allow yourself to play, and even if it doesn't seem logical, just give it a go. Can be easier said than done.
Thank you, Angela. I think that's a great point, because life is short. And we have so many days, and it's a great thing to do, to try new things. And I think it's one of the things that I've really gathered from the experience of working with you as well. And if you don't try new things, then how can you find that thing which you might fall in love with, or that you might describe as your force of nature? So I think that's brilliant advice. Whereabouts can people find you online?
My website is angela-marie.com or livinglifeincolor.co.nz. They both end up in the same place.
Great. When I share this interview, I'll also provide the links to Angela's website, so you can find that. And you can also find her on LinkedIn, for those of you who are looking for a solution for your teams and for your organisation. So Before we wrap up, I'd like to express acknowledgement and gratitude for your force of nature, Angela Murray. You've created the opportunity and the process and the experience for me to have a transformative life experience this year. Like Angela's Dream Big, Paint Big course was huge for me. If you want to read more about what it meant for me, you are welcome to read the blog post that I wrote, which is it's on my LinkedIn profile. It's there under my articles, and it's also on theshapeofkate.com, which is a personal project. I'm not going to get into deeply now, but I shared it there first because it was massive for me. So much came out of that, and what I'd like to do is I'd like to honour and acknowledge the learning that you have done to be the skilled coach that you are, because again, a lot of people, when they hear there's painting involved, think about you as a painting teacher or tutor of some kind, but the process, I can't say it enough, the process is what you'll experience by getting into this work with Angela, and the process creates amazing results if you're willing to commit to that and to just let go and have a go. You come away with a cool painting, that's cool, but all the things that happened for me were much bigger than the painting. The painting's like this added bonus at the end. The letting go of my limiting beliefs and the growth and knowledge of myself and my creativity have been huge. And I'm going to be doing some more play with paint, because one of the other things that, and even this conversation has reminded me of, is that if we want to experience the benefits of exploring our creativity in our lives, then we need to do it regularly. It's like saying, well, I'd like to be fit, and then you go to the gym once a month or maybe once every 3 months. It's not going to work, so getting into it regularly, I think, is one of the messages from Angela, which I think we can all absorb more of. So I thank you, Angela. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak with you today.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I look forward to seeing what happens for you and your business over the coming months, because I think with all your wonderful energy focused on this, I look forward to the creative things that come up too. I just think interesting things are going to happen. So thank you, and thank you for being a part of the What is Your Force of Nature interview series. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we'll wind up there.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.